want something, it would really be perfectly all right for me to go along knowing that all is perfect. And it doesn't matter to me what they want. It's possible for me to give it to them. It would be I being them, knowing there's only perfection, doesn't matter, and there's only perfection that comes from it. But if I'm afraid, then I'm separating myself and saying there's something besides God, something besides perfection.
Now, one of the keys to abundance is the spirit of giving. The key to supply is to develop that constant feeling of givingness. This is a real key in producing supply. If we had an attitude of givingness every moment, and we wanted things, they would smother us. A constant attitude of gratitude is also a very helpful thing.
That's love.
Gratitude is something that doesn't make sense to me.
And then drop it. There's a lot of other words here that could make sense. See, all these things I say, to me, are all the same things. Almost everything I say is the same thing again and again, in different words, in different phrases. But I smiled before when Harry saw how this thing of love was the same as something else. In the end, it all comes down to one thing, and only one. So stick to the words that you like, and let go of the words you don't.
Because after all, it's only your own concept of any word that brings you a realization of the meaning of that word. So it's strictly your own concept of it.
To me, all these words mean the same thing. Love is acceptance, identification, understanding, communication, truth, God, you, me. It's all the same thing. And it will be to everyone if they'll look at it from the same point, from your very own center. If you look at it from your very own center, you'll see that it's all the same. Your very own center being your very own self with a capital S. The real you that you are. Not this fake ego that we're trying to make a big thing of.
All our schooling, all education, everything is cut it up into pieces. And now we're trying to bring it all together.
That's why I've said education actually is a system of learned ignorance. It's a miseducation, as it is today. All the important things in life are never taught. No matter how many years you go to college, you don't get any courses on happiness, love, life, all these subjects that are so important that everyone is seeking. There's not a single course in any college in this country on it.
Everybody take it because it's a snap course.
We don't have any properly qualified teachers. Or the game must be played. They have one that's pretty close.
It's an attitude of givingness. It's not an actual givingness of things. Now, giving things could be part of it, and giving things could be just the opposite of love. I can give you things because I want you to like me. That's not love on my part. That's trying to bolster my ego.
But you're seeking love.
However, the greatest givingness that can be given is to give understanding, to give wisdom. If a man asks me for a meal and I give it to him, 5 hours later he needs it again. But if I get across to him the principle on how to produce a meal, he'll never go hungry again. So the greatest givingness is understanding, wisdom.
I was going to say before, when Paul was talking about the other person doing things which may seem to be against you to gain his end, but really he's merely attempting to gain love by doing this for someone in his field, and therefore if you understand that understanding, and you know he's doing it to gain love or for love, that's seen through this misconception.
Yeah.
That a person
Now that
may have.
carry on through to the extreme, and you'll see that every person in his every act is seeking love.
All right, and if I know that, and it seems as though he's doing something against me, I know he's doing something for him, and therefore he can't be doing it against me. I know that.
And as long as you know it, you are correct. Nothing can be done against you.
Well, it's just that circle. If he's doing it for himself, then it's for you too. Right, Kenny?
Yeah, micro to macro.
Micro to macro, that's right.
But if a person hesitates to give things, it's because he feels he doesn't have it all, and that he would be taking something from himself.
It's in the attitude. It's not in the actual giving
I
or
see
not
so
giving.
many people who are Proustings actually get frightened when they speak of giving things, and I don't see the difference. If they are so capable mentally, certainly they have all the things they need to give.
Sometimes giving sustains the basic thought behind the condition bringing about the giving.
Wow.
Like you were mentioning about, heart fund sake. If I feel love to the heart disease, then I give to the heart fund, so to speak. Right? If I would want to actually fight heart disease, I would see the imperfection in the thought, in the thing, and know the perfection.
There's all levels of helping, all degrees of helping.
So a lot of this giving to charity, to some of these other things, is really a sustaining of the condition under which we think we're giving to eliminate.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping it in mind, therefore sustaining it. And again, of course, the bigger thing behind it all is the, as you say, the perfection. Yes, perfection, but the attitude on our part of the spiritual giving, of the lifting, of not sustaining the condition, but of lifting spiritually above the condition, so that you don't actually, so that you see the perfection.
Yeah,
So
seeing the
that you don't-
perfection instead of the imperfection.
Yeah.
When you do that, you affect every atom in this universe. You affect every person, whether they realize it or not. Because you're invoking the power that's most powerful. It's loving every person into a perfect being, minus all these negativities of diseases. And you actually do far more for all the heart disease with that attitude than you would by giving money. And see, but I'm trying to make a point that it's not important whether you give money to them or not. The important thing is your attitude. You can give for the glory of giving or being put up as a giver. It does you no good. Or you can have the attitude of what you just said and actually give no cash, and you're doing far more good. So it's the attitude that's important. Love is the answer to all problems. No matter what the problem is, if you will just apply love to the fullest extent possible and succeed, that problem will drop away immediately. Just don't get aggravated. Just know that everything is fine, everything's all right, and just feel love, and you'll see that problem resolve itself, no matter how difficult the problem it is. When there are problems, if we would love more, they would disappear. When the love is complete, the problem dissolves immediately. Love is communication. Communication and love go together. Communication is getting across an idea. I say, Frank, da-da-da-da-da, and you say, oh yeah, da-da-da-da-da. Say, it's an idea from me to Frank, and acknowledgement of it. That's communication. We both see eye to eye on the same thing. Now
this is very important. Stop right there for a minute. What did you just say? We both see eye to eye? All right, now let's forget about this eye. Right?
Yeah. Well, that eye to eye meant, it's an expression. I didn't mean a physical eye.
Right. Okay, just so these people understand.
Aye,
CC.
You can easily test this out in your own life, that if you increase communication with an individual, you increase the love between the two of you. Just practicing communication. Say something to them, have them acknowledge that they got it by repeating it, and go on and on that way. And the love between the two of you will keep going up and up. Increasing communication increases love. And the other way around, increasing love increases communication. You've noticed that the more you love, the more you're able to communicate with people. Can I ask something, Bob? It's a very interesting thing that can be tested very easily. Just increase communication and you'll see love. Do it with someone who's against you at the moment.
You betcha. Because, you know why? Because, as Paul said before, if someone appears to be doing something that appears to be against you, there is a lack of communication between eye and eye. And if you open up that channel of communication, then you see eye to eye, and there is no longer anything that this man is doing that is foreign to you, because your awareness of him is raised to such a degree that there is perfect understanding between eye and eye. Isn't that right, Kenny?
I didn't see whether Lester shook his head or not.
Another thing happens as love increases. Reality in the world increases also. The more we're capable of loving, the more we'll see things exactly the way they happen. Now, if you practice increasing your reality in the world, your love will go up too. Just in the same way that if you practice increasing communication, your love will go up. Or the converse, the more we love, the more we see things the way they are in the world. If we were all very loving people, every time there'd be an accident, we'd all see it alike.
Probably wouldn't see any accidents.
That's further up, Harry. If you have the love complete, there never would be an accident.
Because we wouldn't have concepts of accident.
Here it is. Love is communing. Love is communication. Lending support, wanting for the other one what the other one wants, that is love. The greatest help or giving one may give to another is to help the other to get the understanding of truth. In this way, one gives the other the formula for happiness. Love is the cohesive force of the universe. Love is attracting, integrating, and constructive, and so affects everything and anything that it is applied to. Parliaments cannot right the world, but enough individuals feeling love can. I think that's an interesting point for our present times. You cannot legislate a correct world. Parliaments will never straighten this world out. Only when the individuals, when the majority of people in this world have an attitude of love, will the world be a nice place to live in. Will it be harmonious? Almost all people mistake ego approval for love. Because it is not love, it is not satisfying. Consequently, one continuously needs and demands it. And this produces only frustration. Boy, the next one is a hard one. I'm going to just read it and skip over it. Love is not an emotion. Or maybe I shouldn't skip over it. When I say love is not an emotion, emotion is energy in motion. It's an intense, active, disturbing thing, an emotion is. The emotion of love is the most peaceful feeling. And in that sense, I mean that love is not an emotion. People need each other and think it is love. There's no hanging on to or fencing in of the other one when one loves. Human love does not want to share its love with others, but rather wants its own personal satisfaction. Real love wants to share its love, and the more it is shared, the more joyous it is. There is no longing for in love, because longing is separation. Love being oneness, it does not allow separation. True love cannot be gotten through marriage. It must be there before marriage or developed during marriage. Love cannot be applied to one and not to another. It is impossible to love one and hate another. When we love one more than another, that one is doing something for us. That is human love. When one loves people because they are nice to him, that too is human love. True love is unconditional. In true love, one loves even those who oppose him. See, the next sentence is a real test of where we stand on the subject love. We should love everyone equally. This is a tremendous yardstick for checking yourself on growth. Equal-mindedness toward all beings, loving everyone equally, is actually the top state.
But isn't the secret of love really a realization that you have all and he has all? Therefore, there's no separation?
Yes.
Because if you say he's got something I haven't got, that's where difficulty comes in. It's like sitting on a pile of sand. You have a pile of sand, I have a pile of sand. I put a little mark on it, and you say, I want your river. And I say, well, you got a pile of sand, and you just have to make a mark on it, you have a river. If you say, I want your river. It's nothing but a pile of sand, it's just a word, river. I have all, and you have all, so there's no fuss, is there?
That's right. When you see the truth, everyone has exactly the same amount. It's infinite.
So if you want what I've got, it's simply because you don't see you're already sitting on a pile of sand, then you can have the sand too because you're sitting on it.
Mm-hmm. That's simple.
So I say, you got the sand. You say, well, I want mine. Or you can have mine because it's infinite sand. I don't care. So if I say I can't have, well, that's a difficulty. I say, well, I'm not sitting on infinite sand.
It's making an untruth. It's making a lie out of the truth.
So love is really pointing out, well, you're sitting on a pile of sand like I'm sitting on a pile of sand. Take the sand. And this is all the thoughts. We get them through our thinking.
Right.
But we say, no, we don't. We got something. This is, wait, I have something and you don't have something. Isn't that all the cause of our difficulty?
It's awakening to the fact that we have everything.
And this comes first, doesn't it, before we can love?
Well, you work at it from both sides.
Well, I can't love something. If Harry's got something that I haven't got, how can I love Harry if I don't? I want it. It's only if I have it and he hasn't, and if he has it, he can't take anything from me. So we both love each other because we both have it. We don't fight over the air.
But if you say to Harry, Harry, I love you because you've got something there that belongs to both of us. Isn't that right?
Because together we admire and feel good towards the thing, towards that same infinite capacity to have. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no separation in our
Your
capacity to
inheritance
have.
is the same as my inheritance.
Sure.
So what's the fight?
There's none.
None.
So all we can do is enjoy the same thing. There's nothing but enjoyment.
That's what Lester said. When you know the truth, you see that everyone has it equal amount.
Whether morons or professors. They all have the same.
That's right.
It's concept that made it otherwise. It's not currency.
I think that Harry's doing meditation on his own.
I think he's working on it. I think he's really working.
When the revelations start coming, they come. Just don't stop them. Let them keep coming.
When you're sitting there and all of a sudden you put your finger in your head like this and you say, "Pow! I got something there."
It's been there all the time, though. That's the odd part of it.
Yeah, just realize it.
All we do is open our eyes to something that's been there all the time.
But it's usually something exactly different than what you thought it was.
Yeah, the concept was wrong.
Yes.
And you let go of the wrong concept. And there it is.
Sure, that's why you say the truth is right behind the thought. That just became simple.
Stop the thought, stop all thinking, and
The truth is right behind the limitation.
Right, well, yes, right behind the thought.
That's what we've
The
got.
thought is limited.
it is impossible to get love. Only by loving can one feel love. The more one looks for love, the more one doesn't love. It's kind of indicting. One should strive to love, never to be loved. To be loved brings temporary happiness, ego inflation. When one loves fully, one can have no concept of not being loved. When one loves fully, one can have no concept of not being loved. I think that's a good one.
That's Kenny's idea.
It comes back to this thing of beingness, doesn't it? We know if we experience our beingness, we can't feel any desire, or we don't care what the other guy thinks, really. I mean, physically speaking, because
Doesn't change us one iota.
you're it. I am what I am.
When love is felt for the enemy, it makes the enemy impotent, powerless to hurt us. If the enemy persists in trying to hurt us, he will only hurt himself. One does not increase his love, one merely gets rid of one's hate. That's what you brought up before, right? We can't increase our love because that's our natural state. Behind these concepts of non-love is always the infinite love that we are. You can't increase it. All you can do is peel away these concepts of hatred, so that this tremendous loving being that we are is not hidden. Actually, we don't we don't keep increasing our love. We just keep doing away with the limited concepts of hate that we've had before. And by hate I mean anything that's not love. Fear, envy, jealousy, apathy, all those attitudes are different degrees of hate. At least the way I use it, they are. And so we really don't increase our love. We undo our attitudes of hate.
What are our sins then?
Our attitudes of hate, our attitudes of, our thoughts of limitation. The greatest sin of all sins, the downfall, is the ego sense. I am an individual separate from the all. That's the real fall into mankind.
This is what Jesus was meaning when he mentioned sin. So it wasn't the prostitutes who were.
Oh no. Everything we do prostitutes God, practically. Not only prostitution, almost everything does.
But just to show you how little sins are, or the meaningless of sins, spell it backwards, pronounce it backwards. What does it mean? Nothing. Really. Sniss. Who ever heard of sniss?
No,
What does it mean?
it's nice, N-I-S.
Backwards.
It's nice. Oh, a plural. You know, evil spelled backwards is live. So you gotta be careful of that backward stuff.
Is someone tickling you over there?
Well, she's feeling my love, Ken.
She's feeling herself. Only you can feel your love.
You have it your way, I'll have mine.
That's his concept. Please let him be.
And I'm happy.
You know, while you were mentioning that they don't have any courses on joy or happiness or peace that are taught to the college, in the college, I thought, well, the one that comes the closest is sex education.
Welfare.
And you're being facetious again.
Well, I think
You have it your way.
You know, he's got a point there.
I think Will Rogers had the same feeling. I read his biography, and in his biography, he made a statement. I have never met a man or a person I couldn't learn to love.
Right.
I thought that was
Yeah,
tremendous.
there's another way of saying it, that he never met a stranger. But that is the concept. And that was his feeling about people. It shows in his philosophies and his humor. He had love.
That's why he left, this circle, and he was needed somewhere else very quickly.
Don't think he was needed here.
Well, we could use him right now.
I remember seeing him on stage with that roll. Dry voice.
My interpretation of the word stranger is a friend that I don't know his name.
That's perfect.
I think the word name used to mean nature. Name and nature was the same word. Because people were named by the nature of their work. Right? I lost the point I was going to bring out after what you said. What did you say?
A stranger is a friend that whose name I do not know.
Oh, whose nature I do not know, is what I wanted to imply. His nature is my beingness. He is me. Sounds like bad English, doesn't it? He is me.
Is this is the top realization though that you're speaking of now, right?
Someday you'll look around and you'll just see yourself everywhere you look. And you have a feeling you are me, without a question. Without a doubt, you are me.
Putting the pieces together, but I haven't seen that one yet.
You could. That word I is the exact same I, no matter who uses it.
As soon as we all see eye to eye, a little more often,
How do you spell that? U-I-E?
capital I.
When you get to top state, you have a consciousness. There's a constant I goes on in the top state. That's all you see, hear, feel, think, know. Just I. Which is your beingness. And it's beingness that never changes. Beingness always is.
Well, is becoming the opposite of being? Well, don't you have to become before you be?
No.
You have to be before you come.
the becoming is an apparency. You are. I am that I am. It's an amness.
Well, I don't know, I guess the way I visualize it is you're you. You know, you're being, but before you can be, you have to take off these coats, or jackets or whatever, or I think of them as coats, and you're becoming.
Blinders.
Yeah, all right, blindness, but isn't that the becoming?
It's the apparent becoming, yes. But you are, so how can you become? It's only an apparency that you are becoming.
Well, it seems like to me that you're not there yet, so you have to.
Yeah, it seems that way. You're right. So therefore, it seems as though you're becoming. But that's a seemingness. That's not the truth. The truth is you are, here and now.
You're omnipresent.
Right now, you're home spanking the kid.
Well, I guess I can see that, but I mean, it's to me what you're saying, and it I can't quite understand it. I guess is that I'm in West Covina. I just haven't got there yet.
No, you are there now, but you got the silly, limited concept that you're only here. That you're only that body, and only through that body can you be somewhere. That's not true. If you would see the truth, you'd see everything going on at home, right now, as you're talking with me.
Probably can right now. Who knows what's going on?
You better believe it. I hear the turmoil right now.
That proves it that he is omnipresent. Absolutely. Because we see him here, don't we? But he could be back there anytime he wants to be. So he is there, really.
This will give you something to talk about at lunch break.
You betcha.
But these are things that we cannot talk ourselves into. These are things we have to realize on our own. We have to see it through our own mind's eye, so to speak. Otherwise, it's just words. Someone who doesn't think he's omnipresent says, that's ridiculous, I'm right here. So until we realize this, it has no meaning really for us. But I say try to realize it, and boy, what meaning it'll take on when you find out you are, always have been, always will be omnipresent.
Watch who you tell this to, though, Paul. They'll put you down the happy farm.
Only two blocks away.
I don't have a strong nose. I get so I don't particularly care what other people think of me or my opinions. I like them for what they are. If they don't like me for what they are, that's their problem. For what I am, that's their problem.
It's a good chance, it's a good opportunity to grow when people are saying things about you, opposing you. It gives you a chance to practice the real love. It gives you a chance to practice the real peace. Because they're making sounds with their mouth, there's no reason why you should feel bad about it. Opposition is a very healthy thing. It provokes growth. So love is a thing that the world sings about, writes about, has moving pictures about,
And knows little about.
and knows very little about. Love is portrayed in the movies as always a male and a female winning each other. The real love is winning the universe, not just one person, but every individual in the universe.
Bob, that'll take us a while.
Not Bob. He knows what it is.
I mean, he's an ardent lover.
Well, I won't go that far.
mixing your levels now.
This is a mixed group.
In the practical end of it, I left out square all with love. This is an excellent gimmick. During the day, if we try to fit everything into love, whatever we're doing, it will make for rapid and tremendous progress. Square all with love. Am I doing this with love? No matter what it is. Try to do it with love.
There's also another sentence there.
What?
Assume responsibility for all your own needs.
That's another gimmick. Both of those are excellent for daily growth. Take full responsibility for whatever happens to you. No matter what it is, say, what did I do to cause this? You'll develop the habit of bringing up the cause for what's happening to you. You'll prove to yourself that you are the master, that you caused everything. And since you are the master, you can uncause or cause what you would like to have caused. But taking full responsibility and squaring all with love are two excellent means of growth that can be used every day in our relationships with people. Another 2 minutes to go before the tape is out.
Would you like to say something, Kenneth?
2 cents worth in? Wake up Frank over there, maybe he has something to say.
I can't fall asleep with all those gems pouring from the skin.
Well, don't blame him.
The Irish.
Pasco?
Well, now, wait a minute, that's your own concept, that's not his.
Old Pasco.
Let's have a little clearer communication here, Frank. Just what is your meaning? You see how that communication bit really is important? Everybody.
I don't care if I don't understand what he's talking about.
Well, that's your, that's your concept.
Oh, we're having separate ones now.
We're having fun.
That makes there are 3 of us in this room instead of just one. Aye.
Question?
Aye.
I was wondering, in your own experience, when did you, what were the steps? What breakthroughs did you get as you were leading up to seeing all as, yourself as all?
He fell through an open elevator shaft on his head.
That wouldn't help you any, Harry. What will help you is for you to do it. Take those steps.
There ain't no shortcut, Harry.
The first inkling I had,
There is a shortcut.
There is.
Knowing
It's
who
for
you
sale.
are. How long does it take an omnipotent, omniscient being to know that he is omnipotent and omniscient? He's got all power, all knowledge. And how long should it take him to realize that he has it, if he's got it? It could be done in a second.